Hi, my name is Paul Easton and this presentation is from Net Branding and it's on the 5 key elements of a business growing website. And what I mean by that is a website that helps you bring more business in the door. This presentation is all about what we have seen in some of our clients and the way business is being done online, and hopefully give you the right elements to move forward. But firstly, a little bit more about us. So Kathy is our founder. She has been in digital marketing longer than most people, and over 20 years in different management capacities, and founded Net Branding in 2009. Kathy saw a need for the right advice going to smaller companies, focusing on actual full results and actually looking to make the business better. A lot of agencies make a lot of offers and promise a lot of things but don't follow through. So we saw an opportunity in that area. So up on the right there is Harsh. He's our technical digital expert. He's a person who's digging into all the new things that are changing in the online space, particularly the way around Google works and the way Google reads your website, and then moving into the data side of it so that you can measure everything. And that one in the middle there is me, that's Paul. I'm the digital production manager. So I handle all the website productions, the managing of the content, the building of the new sites, but I'm also got a digital marketing background. So I'm looking at things from a performance point of view, and I'm looking at how things work and making sure that every element of your website supports your business. And down the bottom we've got Pawasha. Now, Pawasha is an amazing person as far as detailed content and information, and she can really pull out the analytics and analyze them and give you things that need to change and what needs to happen on your website. So let's go into it. We want a key element number one, or element number one. It's a clear description of what you do and who you are. And what I mean by this is when your website first loads, when someone arrives, you have to pretend that that person has never ever heard of you, they've never been to your website before, they don't know anything about you. Very quickly they're tuning into what we call a radio station, and that's YFM. That's WIIFM, what's in it for me. So that person is looking at that site, and that, especially that first page that loads, we call it above the fold. Can you tell what the business is about? Can you understand instantly on that is whether it's something I'm looking for or something I'm not looking for? And can you see some value in there and staying? Because that's all you're trying to do, is trying to get them to stay that little bit longer and find out more about what you do. So key element number two is professional and clear messaging. So this is broken down into sort of two parts. Professional is a lot of people have cut corners when they've done their websites, and they've maybe got someone who's not as professional, or they've gone the other side. They've gone to a graphic design. Now, graphic design doesn't mean performance. So I'm not saying that you have to have the greatest whiz bang website, the greatest effects and all those things that go with it, but you do need to have the professional look and feel. And then clear messaging. Now, the biggest challenge in the online is getting people's attention, and what's happened is people have gone down the path of not being as clear as they should be. Maybe something that they've taken from print media which doesn't apply well online. And I've got some examples later on which will make this a bit clearer. But it's a matter of portraying yourself quickly so that you can see that you are the fit for that person who's arrived on your website. So this next one is responsive and proactive. And I put this in there for the simple reason that I've seen examples where websites do perform really well, but then they generate leads and then the leads are not followed up on soon enough. There is a what I call a gap for when a person fills out a form online or makes an inquiry. And that person's, I call it a timer, starts. Now that timer is a value in trust. When they first put that proposal through or the question through, they have a large element of trust in you because they're approaching you. But then as the time frame goes on, the trust is less and less because they're waiting for an answer. They are the options to go and have a look at someone else become bigger. And that means you need to be proactive and replying back to those messages. And again, I'll show you I've got an example later on of how it can be done the best way. Can you be found for when people search for what you do. So we're talking about getting found in Google. It's called search engine optimization, but basically it's getting found in the organic or the free results for exactly what your service is. Now, I can't tell you what your service exactly, that's a whole lesson in itself, but focusing on the key search elements of what a person is searching for, what the keyword intent is, the buyer intent is if you are buying something, is what is that person really looking for. If it's a single word term, for example, let's go cats. Now that person that puts in a search for cats could be looking for anything. But if a person is looking for black cats with 3 legs, well, it's pretty clear what they're looking for. It might be a video, but hey, who knows? But you get my point, is you need to balance out the what people search for and the buyer intent. Measurement. How are you measuring? And I put this one specifically around measurement because you have to be able to include the measurement on your website on how people found you and what they do when they get there. I've seen large corporates, I've worked with large companies and small companies where they've gone and they've rebuilt their website or they've changed the system that's in there, and they quickly work out that what they changed to isn't working, and they've got to backtrack because they took some advice from somebody and they changed, but actually their advice was wrong. You have to have a plan in place if you're going to do that type of thing on how you're going to change and what you're going to change, so you can measure all the way through. Ideally, you want to be measuring before you make any changes and then look at what the performance afterwards, and that comes down to data, and you can measure everything online, including an element of offline marketing as well. So I'm going to go through some examples of different videos, and I'll point out a few things looking at it through what we've done from this presentation. So I'm not exactly sure where I found this one, but looking at it from a user point of view, yes, I can see it's an accounting firm of some format. What I look for here is one of the most key looked at pages is the About Us page. People want to find out what you are about, and this particular site doesn't have that at all. So that's my first key point here. The next point here is the writing. Grayless Accounting provides accounting, bookkeeping and tax services. And then that very small button underneath. So the writing goes across a background, which it's quite easily for it to get lost in that background, and it's not super clear exactly what it is. Yes, you can read it, but there are better ways of doing it to make it clearer. And again, we've got some examples down below. So the read more button is there, but it's quite small and it's quite unobtrusive. The good thing about it is a color, a slightly different color, so it does stand out a little bit. But again, it's in the writing below there will take care of your monthly accounting. I can just read it. So again, we've not made clear messaging up front. So now slightly different examples. Now this is quite an old website. I pulled it from some previous data. But if you look at the messaging it has, okay, so what does the person want you to do? The phone number, clear right at the top there. They want you to ring in to that number. So what do they produce? They produce beautiful headstones. And they have high quality photo engraving and memorials at affordable prices. So there's some points of difference that it is pulled out from the business. And if you look down the bottom there, also then has an email address where people can actually email straight in or call. So it has a clear call to action, phone in. And I did some work on this website, and people just view it and then call and say, where do I pay? So it's a really good experience. So another one here, I stumbled across this one online. They were doing some advertising. It's hard to tell on this particular picture, but in the images it had down on the center of the page, it had moving objects which went to the right, then it had moving objects that went to the left, and it was a whole lot of things moving that caught the eye, but it has caught the eye across the wrong method, across the wrong want, because it was distracting. Again, accountant, what sort of accountant? It's just a straight accountant. Then the other point that I'd like to pick up is it does have an 0800 number at the top there, but it's also very small. You can't really standing out. Now, the other question which I had in my own mind was sign up or book a call. Sign up, this is on the homepage of the site. What am I signing up for? I don't know. And the book a call button, while standing out reasonably, could be clearer so it stands out better. It had live chat on there, but that was also, if you look at the layout, I couldn't actually identify that it was a clear call to action. Now I'm approaching this from, I don't know anything about the site, and that's the way I would like you to look at your own website, is from an independent point of view. Yes, you may know certain things and you can identify them, but someone arriving your site may not. So I put this example up. That's actually lawyer in Auckland.co.nz, and it's key law. And the point that I want to put across here is, look across the top. You can see he does conveyancing, he does wills and estates, estate planning, and NZ immigration. Now, although it's not a very direct approach, you can still see the different elements that are on that site. And he's a lawyer in Auckland, so very clearly. And this picture doesn't show it in there, but that actual picture in the bottom there is actually a video. And it's a personalised video where the lawyer walks out and introduces himself. And this is a key element, to being able to introduce yourself and put yourself on screen, because that is a key. People want to deal with people and know who they're dealing with. And just because you think you don't look great in a video, I still think it's a key element and a point of difference. And the other reason that I also did this is that this screenshot doesn't show it, but the actual contact us form for this site, which you can see clearly is down the bottom left hand side, it still has a good professional appearance and still has some good information. But on the contact us form, if you contact Ian, who's the Key Law founder, he also has a video on the page after you put your submission to tell him more about what you do. And he has a process in place where he replies very quickly to those inquiries, knowing that there are important differences. There are important things that need to be sorted out if you're looking for a lawyer. So it's a good sort of corporate example of how to do it, but with a personal touch. So this next one, another one of our clients, the property inspectors. This is a very high performing website, and I'll walk you through why at the top. So again, people are expecting the logo on the top left. That's just what the expectation is. Then there is a menu, but then you've got that get a free quote on the top right hand side. Very clear. It stands out. It stands out from the rest of the menu. It's very easy to contact them either with the free phone or the mobile. And then if you go down, he's a trusted property inspections in Auckland. So again, you know he's in Auckland. You know he does property inspections, and you've got that request a free quote right there underneath that level. Now if we scroll down a little bit to the bottom there, you can see detailed and thorough reports, same day turnaround, and compliant and trusted. So these are value propositions. What you do that makes you stand out from others, and how you do it. So that's things that people are maybe asking in the back of their mind, but not always directly. So bringing those points up, saying covers any questions before the lead or someone contacts them. This one here is in the plumbing area, plumbing business, and it's again a fairly simple sort of approach. But you see at the top left, you've got the 0800 number. It's clear right above the logo. It has also the email contact. And this is a screenshot that loads. Not as direct approach, but does look very well. If you look at where it says Flow Fix Plumber, it says looking for quality reliable plumber in Orewa, Whangaparoa and the North Shore of Auckland. So that points out exactly where you are. You've got a picture of the van and the owners, and just below that you've got an explanation video, which is another way of building trust with your audience. Video is becoming huge because it does give you that element of extra touch, extra feel, and finding out more about that business before you deal with them. So some final points on the end of this presentation. One, I hope you've got some value out of it, and it's set you thinking about what your website does and how it does it. Make it simple and clear. Like I said near the first page, is you don't need to have the most whiz-bang website. It just needs to be simple and clear, and very easy for a person to take action. And just adding into that, I jumped out into the next one. So what I mean in the next one is make it easier for your potential customers to do business with you. Now we've seen 0800 numbers, we've seen email addresses right on the page. We've also seen, I haven't gone through some forms. People want people to fill out a form, and it's like an introduction, and they're wanting first name, they're wanting last name, they're wanting a phone number, they're wanting all these potential points of content, and you have just arrived on that site. That could be quite a roadblock to doing anything. Now, include marketing on top of the right design. So what we see a lot as a marketing company is people trying to market websites that maybe have been built purely on brand presence. Now, if you're a bank or maybe a large mortgage company that has the external brand presence of TV and all those other things, then you can get away with the marketing on top of the right design. But if you're a slightly smaller company, you have to have a direct approach to get people to take an action or take that step. It's called a CTA, or a call to action, a clear call to action on the page for people to move forward, because that's what you want them to do. You want to move forward from looking at you to taking the next step. Test before you make changes, and I put on the end there data. Now, I've seen people move web platforms from one design to another. They've lost all their presence they had in Google. I've seen people, larger businesses, making the same mistakes, having a website rebuilt, and in one case their lead cost, or the leads they were getting, dropped 30% because we were measuring paid advertising, and that was purely because of the website was rebuilt and it didn't take into effect the user experience. And so what I'm saying there is test before you make any changes, and ideally you have a solution where you can change back, but you do have to have someone who knows about the marketing to design. I've seen people use graphic designers for their design layout, and they have a different mindset, they have a different approach. They're more focusing on the pure look and feel, should I say, and not so much the performance. So something to keep in mind. And again, this is from Net Branding. Just a quick thank you, and there's our details there as well. If you want to contact me directly, my email address is there and my phone number. And look, feel free to give me a call or drop me a line and see how we can possibly help your website perform better for your business. So that's Net Branding. Be seen, be heard, be found online.